Christine Byers, good morning. Thanks for joining us here.
Good morning, McGraw.
Thanks for coming. And with our partnership with your great company, we are able to use you more and more. And we are actually broadcasting currently at KTRS.com, also at STLTODAY.com. Your beat is primarily crime.
Correct.
And we'll get to some of your crime stories. You have the story yesterday, but they let you out of your crime box, and you wrote about the Bosnian story the other day.
Yes, they let me out of my cocoon, and I did work a weekend shift. So the main event going on, aside from weather that day, was the build-up to the soccer game last night. So I went to the Bevo neighborhood, and the fans did not disappoint. They were out in full force, and it was just a great vibe, a great thing to see and write about.
Your story said that there were people in the restaurants, lines out the door of people wanting Bosnian food.
Absolutely. They were, piled into the streets and the parking lots and just the wait. They didn't care how long the wait was because they just wanted to be around each other and, experience the camaraderie in that. And they were playing, music out in the parking lots. It was just like one big party, no matter where they were, whether inside the restaurant or outside.
Do we have any idea how many Bosnians from outside of St. Louis came in for the event?
That's a great question. I don't have numbers, but just to put in perspective, at the restaurant I went to, they said normally on a Sunday they do about 150. They serve about 150 guests, and the Sunday I was there, they were close to 800.
Oh my goodness. So they really wanted some Bosnian food and just to get together and,
Yeah.
break bread. What's the percentage of Bosnians in St. Louis? Do we know that?
Good question. It's pretty high, and it is actually one of the largest settlements of Bosnian immigrants outside the country.
Right.
Obviously. And rivals Chicago too. So
the paper's done quite a bit on Bosnia this summer and the Bosnian community. It's been 20 years since they've been settled in, so they've become assimilated. Their kids have grown up, loving soccer and baseball, and they sort of become St. Louisans. And they've, a lot of them were first relocated to South City and that sort of Bevo Mill area, but they've since, branched out, and now they're sort of just like St. Louisans, whether it was the Irish population or the Italian population. And so they still call that Bevo Mill area home, where they might go for dinner on a Sunday night, but they live in, Creve Coeur, Kirkwood, Webster Groves, Scottsville, wherever else. I mean, it's sort of the American story, more or less.
it really is. And then one of the star soccer players, of course, on the Bosnian team, a St. Louis boy. So went to Roosevelt and played here at SLU. So there's really strong ties here to St. Louis.
I love the fact that those South City high schools are now great in soccer, where they were never good in soccer before. But all these Bosnians came in playing soccer, and all of a sudden, it's the world great, soccer players. All right, so that was a great story. Now, tell us about this St. Louis County jail story you had the other day, which was really kind of interesting.
Basically, they're finding at the jail that it's becoming overcrowded. The reason is that the average length of stay has increased by an average of about 9 days. And so usually what they like to do is keep the inmate to guard ratios at a certain level to ensure safety, obviously, and all kinds of other things. But with the average length of stay increasing as it has, it's becoming more difficult to do that. So you have more use of force, more attempted suicides, of course, higher bills when it comes to healthcare and food costs, all those things. And the reason that they believe the average length of stay is increasing is because public defenders for years have been saying that they're overworked and their caseload is just growing out of control. And so what the county is proposing to do to help with that problem is start paying private attorneys to do the work of the public defenders. And the initial proposal calls for $300,000 to pay the private attorneys to do this work, and they basically just want to see if that makes a dent in the caseload.
Why wouldn't they just want to hire just more
public defenders? That's what I was thinking.
Well, they say that they can get a lot more bang for the buck with just paying sort of private attorneys like as consultants and not so much benefits and all of that with actually hiring another body. And plus, the public defender's office is a state-run entity, so
Gotcha.
it's not like the county can pay a public defender because
Right.
it's a state-run office.
Public defenders, there's a special place in heaven for public defenders. I mean,
Yeah.
what type of tough job that is to come in with somebody who's indigent or can't afford a lawyer, and your goal is to defend them with a vigorous defense. I mean, that's a special type of human being who can do
And
that.
getting paid
And getting
next
paid.
to nothing.
Right. And then being yelled at by the community. How dare you defend
Right.
that person's right? What's been the reaction to your story?
Well, so far people are saying, there's certainly people like Bob McCullough, the prosecuting attorney, who is very doubtful of the plight of the public defender's office. He is saying that we're not counting the same numbers. We don't understand how they're counting their cases because when we look at our numbers, we're issuing the same amount of cases, and so they're the ones that handle the cases that we issue. How can there be a problem? And the public defenders are saying that the problem is we're handling more of the state's cases as opposed to private attorneys handling them, and they speculate the reason is the economy. Basically, people are just unable to afford private attorneys anymore, so they're turning to the public defenders.
It's a great point. A lot of people use all the social networks, whether it's food stamps, whether it's with the welfare or whatever else, and because of the economy, more people have less money for lawyers, whether it's a drunk driving case or something, stealing, theft, whatever it may be. Also, you and I became friends because you're following this whole meth story around St. Louis. I know you've been on the front lines of that meth story from the beginning. Anything new on the horizon we should be paying attention to?
More and more communities every day are making pseudoephedrine a prescription in Missouri and really throughout the country. But really, there's nothing new sort of on a national level right now moving on it. Tennessee is actually getting pretty close to going prescription only.
For the whole state.
Yeah. And the reason is because they're expecting to actually surpass Missouri this year as the #1 state for meth labs.
Oregon has made it over the counter for the state.
And Mississippi.
And Mississippi, that forward-thinking state of Mississippi, has made it. I'm sorry, that was an editorial comment. I apologize. And Mississippi, and now you're saying Tennessee.
Tennessee is definitely talking about it at the state level and taking significant strides towards that goal.
What about the Highland Pharmaceuticals claim that they can make the cold medicine where you can't extract the pseudoephedrine from? That seemed like a miracle, but they've ran into some trouble, haven't they?
Yes, their product is apparently with the quote-unquote one-pot method, which has become the very popular method because you can basically make meth in like a soda bottle in a parking lot,
right?
And in your car or whatever, and get it very quickly. Apparently, their product is bulletproof when it comes to that method. You cannot extract pseudoephedrine using that method, but the crime lab in St. Louis County and the DEA labs have been able to make meth with their product in a different method,
right?
More elaborate method, but certainly one that the DEA in St. Louis County claim the bad guys know how to do.
So
they always get around. I mean, they find a way,
right.
No matter what, it seems like.
It's really true. But in Oregon and in Mississippi, where they've outlawed it, and you need a prescription, the meth labs and the meth problem has gone down dramatically, has it not?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, Oregon has they went prescription only, I believe, in 2007, so they've got the longest, track record to see over time what happens.
Right.
And they're down. I mean, they used to be in the hundreds, and now they're down to maybe a dozen, if that.
Yeah. What did Arkansas do? Didn't Arkansas do something kind of interesting? They said something where you can't buy cold medicine, or if you're from another state, you can't buy cold medicine in Arkansas. Arkansas did something like that. Might want to look at that.
I will look at that.
There you go. All right, good. What's it like working with Deb Peterson?
You always ask me that.
I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
She's great.
No, seriously, what do you really think?
No, she's great, but they often don't let her out of her cocoon either. She's down in editorial now, so she's not, around the newsroom.
So it's so much nicer working with her since you never see her.
No, I never said that.
He is so putting words in your mouth.
Not a direct quote.
Wait a minute. Christine Byers is saying she is saying I misquoted her. Isn't that interesting? The media always does that. Don't they? They always do that.
I do have a question for you though, because
Yeah.
your beat is basically crime beat, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever want to get out of that and be able to do, feature stories or anything like that? Because I know it can kind of be taxing on reporters doing the same type of depressing news all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it gets to you at some points, and some stories more than others, and I'll be honest, certainly since becoming a mother myself, it's really been affecting me differently, but I I really do enjoy it. Oddly enough, I really, it's interesting to see the behind the scenes when you have a horrible situation going on, and it's interesting to see, how people come together and try to make the best out of a situation. So that's kind of what keeps me going. But I do like the occasional feature, yeah, like the Bosnian fans and stuff. It was no pressure.
Yeah.
Last
Yeah.
question for you, Christine Byers. What's your favorite Christmas movie that you have to see every year?
Now, this is a hard-hitting question.
Oh, oh, what's the one with is it
Elf?
Elf? Yes.
Oh,
Boy,
that
was
Yes.
scary
I was
good.
like, what is his name? Will Ferrell. That's what it is.
That was scary
Yes.
good. What's the one Elf? Yes, that's the one I'm talking about.
But see, I heard her. She was starting to say an E.
Yes.
That
I was
was-
like,
That was some type of woman cosmic mind meld. or
We're
something.
connected.
That
We're
was
connected.
really weird. All
You
right.
know, that's a good one.
Elf.
No one's mentioned
Elf
that
is a
one.
new one. Elf is a new one. All right. Elf. We got Elf
Which
down.
is also
Christine
going to be
Byers.
playing at the Fox Theater.
Oh,
Elf.
Really?
good
Yes.
to know.
Yeah.
You know what? Last year, we got a break here, but last year I went to my insurance agent, gave me tickets to go see It's a Wonderful Life at the Esquire in Clayton. I saw it in the movie theater.
Now that's cool.
Yeah.
Not done that before.
It was really a lot of fun. It was
Yeah.
you look at it in a totally different way
Yeah.
because you're not pausing it and
Exactly.
stopping it. And
You're
the dog's
watching the
not barking.
whole thing
Yeah,
through.
it was really
Yeah.
it was a really good movie actually. All right, Christine Byers from STLTODAY.com. Thank you for swinging by.
Thanks for having me.
You're always welcome. You ever need us, give us a holler. But good to see you, and tell the gang down the street we said hi.
All right,
And
well,
grab
do.
a donut from Strange Donuts
Yeah.
on your way out.
Christine Byers, breaking news, likes working with Deb Peterson now that she doesn't see her anymore. Film at 11. 9:25 here on the Big 550 KTR.